One sec, I gotta scratch the shit on my cheeks. Ah, okay. What's up? Yeah, good God, this was a terrible chapter. My goodness, this chapter, like, I mean, there have been chapters that have like really that have sucked, but this one was ugh. This one was terrible as fuck. Especially for a chapter that was just like primarily all about. I mean, I guess you can. I guess there's really not much of a distinction when you say like, oh, it's all about fighting. But yeah, chapter 34, man. I don't know what the fuck Toyotaro was thinking. So, um, as always, let's start out how I'm gonna do this. So, because the manga generally comes out after the anime or after the anime episode, and obviously this week, I think this week is the last episode. Or is it this week? Is 131 airing this week or next week? Just let me know. But either way, in at least 2 weeks' time, Super the anime is done, and then we got the unfortunately we got the movie to look for to look to, and we can talk. And actually, I'll start up. But let's talk about the teaser because it was only 30 seconds. The animation I thought was pretty good. Animation, I mean, that's all I can really comment about the animation. And then we see like this Saiyan, who's like who's looking like a cross between Super Saiyan. Well, from what we've seen, like a cross between like Super Saiyan 4 Goku and a little bit of Broly. But and I only say Broly because like Broly's like garb was there, and obviously this Saiyan in the teaser had a caveman pelt, right? So obviously it's not Broly. I'm not saying that this Saiyan is Broly. Of course, Saiyan Z3 would never is not that dumb enough to say like this is fucking Broly. But what I am noting is like the similar look to Broly. Even the hair I thought looked a little similar to Broly and kind of like a Super Saiyan 4 Goku-esque look. Even he had like the yellow eye and everything. So as for my thoughts on it, I'm not sure how much sense an original Saiyan challenging Goku now makes. I don't know if that makes much sense, if at all, considering that if people are saying that this might be Yamoshi, right? Because he's wearing a caveman pelt, and if you wear a caveman pelt, that generally indicates that you are someone of like an ancient time, right? And given the fact that he's wearing like Saiyan-esque armor, um, it seems to be that that people, and so he's wearing Saiyan-esque armor and he seems to be from the past because of the caveman pelt. So together these things could indicate that this may be Yamoshi. Now I don't know how much sense that would make considering that Yamoshi apparently was a good person, right? If Yamoshi is a good-hearted Saiyan, then I have no idea like why he would fight Goku, right? Now maybe, and again, usually Dragon Ball doesn't go down. Usually when they do a trailer, they reveal the villain, and I'm thinking like this Saiyan is going to be the villain. I wouldn't see any reason why he wouldn't be the main villain, or at least the main antagonist, maybe. Um, but what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so I don't know how much sense it's gonna make that Yamoshi is this person because I'm not so sure if an original Super Saiyan is really gonna be that strong, considering that Goku is trained with Beerus, unlocked Ultra Instinct, gone through all these things, and supposedly this is set after Super. But if you look at the armor, it's a lot more like Frieza army armor, right? So that made me think that maybe this is like some really old Universe 7 Saiyan, perhaps. Um, I was thinking it could be from Universe 6, but the armor doesn't really look like Kaba's armor or any of the other Saiyans that we saw in the anime or the manga that was wearing armor from Universe 6. So, point is, I think it's a very old Saiyan. I think it has to be an old Saiyan. I think we even saw like the tail was there, right? The tail was there too, right? So I'm pretty sure it has to be a Saiyan of some sort. Now, maybe it might not be a Saiyan. Maybe there's no tail. But the fact that like the armor looked very Saiyan-esque, right? I think the armor just looked like very like Frieza Saiyan armor-esque. So, and given that this is a movie about the origin of Saiyans, I assume that this person is a Saiyan now. As to how strong Yamoshi is, I really hope he's not like this primordial, like really strong like enemy, because to me that wouldn't make much sense considering like how Yamoshi went out. He died because he wore himself out and the numbers were too great. That doesn't sound like something that Super Saiyan Goku or Super Saiyan Vegeta would suffer from if they were so, at least if this was competently written, like of Gohan or any other Saiyan, they wouldn't be like overrun by that back in Dragon Ball Z. But considering this is Dragon Ball Super, Toriyama's kind of gone senile. It's a little weird and fucked up for obvious reasons. Yeah, and this is kind of going to be like a little off topic, but the other day I realized like Toriyama has gotten so senile, right? That in 2013 I was just thinking about this, and I guess this lends credence to the other like the whole thing about like why Dragon Ball Minus and why Dragon Ball Super in itself may not be canon, because in 2013, when he created this, when all this new Dragon Ball content started coming out, right, with Battle of Gods and Dragon Ball Minus, I realized that he's so he's so apathetic to continuity, right? That he created two contradictory stories within the span of a year. So it's not like he forgot anything. Well, I mean, he forgot something, but forgetfulness doesn't have to do with what I'm talking about here. He created two stories, fresh new stories that contradicted one another, and Dragon Ball Minus and Battle of Gods. And this contradiction comes from the fact that in Battle of Gods, right, Beerus supposedly was the one that told Frieza to destroy Planet Vegeta, right? But in Dragon Ball Minus, very clearly we see that's not the case. We see that he's going to destroy Planet Vegeta because of his fear of the Super Saiyan and the Super Saiyan God myth. And so that's when he makes his plan, right? So Battle of God says it was Beerus, but Dragon Ball Minus shows something different. And that just goes to show that Toriyama, for the most part, doesn't give a fuck anymore. And yeah, I'm being critical of Toriyama right now because, and this has nothing to do with the. I mean, yeah, it has nothing to do with the chapter review, but it's just like I've gotten like so sick of Toriyama's like senile nature and his shit that really, I truly believe that he doesn't really care. I really believe that he doesn't care. I mean, he says that he cares, but I feel like if you cared, then you would do more than just write a plot outline and draw a couple character designs. You would be doing the actual manga. Like you know what I mean? You would be fleshing out the dialogue, and Toyotaro and Toei wouldn't be having to do that by themselves. Anyway, that's my little mini Toriyama rant. And because honestly, since 2013, Toriyama may not be my favorite mangaka anymore. I think I actually might like Togashi more than I do like Toriyama. I mean, Prime Toriyama with Dr. Slump and the original Dragon Ball manga, all that stuff. That version of Toriyama is always going to be my favorite version, my favorite mangaka, creator, author, whatever you want to write, period, right? But if I look at the whole body of work with this included, and we just look at like how emotionally detached he is from the series, and I think that's very obvious. I think that none of the characters, Jiren, you can feel no love is put behind them, right? But you could feel love put behind like a character, say like Cell or Frieza, right? Or even Majin Buu. And with a character like Jiren, or maybe even Hit, who I thought was like one of the better continuity additions to the cast, you don't feel it. I don't feel anything from Zamasu or Goku Black. I feel nothing, like no effort or love from these characters. But ironically, I do feel that with Beerus and Whis. And maybe that's because that was the first new story that Toriyama was going to create, and he wasn't really thinking about creating like a whole new series back in 2013. But anyway, so that's my little whole mini Toriyama rant. Let's actually get into the chapter review. So this is chapter, and just to cap that off. So yeah, Toriyama may no longer be my favorite mangaka or author. I might like Togashi over him, but even with all like this new like 5 years worth of, for the most part, shitty content of Dragon Ball, I would still say Toriyama is at least top 2 mangaka for me, at least. But considering Dragon Ball Super and all this, Togashi may be number 1. At the very least, they're probably like tied now. So that's my whole thing. So let's actually talk about like the chapter review. So because like I said before, because the manga comes out after the anime, this is really going to be more of like it'll be a review, but there will be comparisons made to the anime. And so I'll start off with like what I thought it did better for this particular situation, what it kept, and what it did worse. And so, like I said at the start, I thought this was like a terrible chapter. So let's start with like what it did good, right? I thought there's a portion in the chapter where Tien does a Kikoho, right? And we'll talk about that because there's actually something that was like completely fucking like my whole like interpretation. Like there's some like terrible ass translation, and I was reading it off of Viz too. But anyway, Tien's Kikoho, drawing the attention of everyone, I thought was good. Not necessarily because he or the attack is strong, not because Tien necessarily is like strong compared to everyone else, or the attack in itself is strong compared to like every other attack in the series, but just the fact that there was like this moment dedicated to everyone like being like wowed at the size of Tien's attack. I thought that in itself, just the fact that it was such a big size attack drew attention. I thought that was good because, you know, Tien, he's one of the more lesser spotlighted characters. And it's not so much that it accomplished anything. I just like the fact that there was a big attack made by Tien and people took notice. I like that. And considering like who all is eliminated, most of the trash, non-fitting abilities that don't fit within Dragon Ball powers, right, they for the most part are not shown. like Hyssop using ice, Chapel's iron skin, Hop's claws being of importance, Tria de Danger's abilities. They're never shown. And I remember I saying I liked Bergamo's ability. I thought that was a good enough ability, but growing bigger in size, I thought that nah, that's not something that would really be make much sense in a post Z Dragon Ball fight. You know, just to grow bigger when size has already been shown not to like mean much. So yeah, and that's obviously like a reason why the whole Gamisars and Piccolo thing just is fucking stupid. But that was a good thing, I thought. Like most of the trash, non-fitting abilities are not shown, like Lavenda's poison or Bergamo's fucking video, or sorry, not Bergamo, Basil's like fucking video game attacks, like Justice or whatever, Wolfgang Bus or whatever the fuck it's called. All that shit was gone, so that was a good thing. Frieza's attitude is more natural in here than the anime, I feel, because Frieza to me, if there's one thing I learned about the Namek arc, and even Revival of F, as shitty as that is, right? And even though it like completely destroyed, in my opinion, destroyed the one interesting thing about Frieza's character and his relationship with King Cold, right? And if there's anything I learned about the Namek arc in the beginning of the Androids arc, Frieza is a very like direct, vengeful, prone to anger person. He gets angry. He like that was his whole shtick, his whole theme. It was him perpetually getting more angry over the course of the Namek arc. That's like how his character. That was the expression of his character. I mean, there was like him being polite and all this and being sadistic, but the general theme, and not necessarily how he changed. It's just like how his persona changed was him getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And so over here, Frieza's attitude in the manga, I think, is more natural here than in the anime, where he makes it clear from the get-go that he's still looking for revenge against the Saiyans, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and even Trunks. I would assume still Trunks, even after the tournament, and he makes that clear. I can't remember a line where he said exactly that in the anime. And so his anime attitude, like I said, I like the nonchalance, but at the same time, it's very strange because everyone is just going along with him. You know, he's just acting like, to me, I don't know why Frieza I don't know why Frieza would be nonchalant in this sort of situation. If anything, his hatred for Goku and now Vegeta and Gohan, and even, well, not so much Gohan, but Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, he's that sort of character that just like hates and hates and hates. And so for him to just like be nonchalant and smile in confidence and all this, I don't think that makes much sense. Like, oh, I can, and obviously the whole control the gods thing, like that's fucking bullshit. Like that whole goal that he had in the anime. First of all, it's like this whole fucking red herring, vague ass thing that the writer saw was like, oh, this is so like smart of us for us to put in, and yeah, obviously that's bullshit, right? But the point is, him making it clear from the get-go that he's gonna still look for revenge after this, I think that is a good thing. And yeah, the last good thing that I want to talk about is Goku's quote at the end of the chapter, because it actually makes him seem like a little like level-headed and not the whole like clueless, naive, dumb character that Super has kind of made him out to be. Goku's quote saying like, oh, I mean, if we lose anyway, we're dead meat, or if we lose, we're dead meat anyway. And so Beerus was telling them like, hey, don't lose or I'll kill you. And then Goku's like, if we lose, we're dead meat anyway. So I like that whole level-headedness to him. And it's not necessarily even level-headedness. It's just like his matter of like he sees like, and it's not even like this really big smart moment either. It's just like I just appreciate like when they don't make Goku a fucking retard. And so I thought that was a good thing that the chapter did. Now we'll talk about the things that the bad things. And usually when I say what they kept from the Universal Survival arc, it's usually the bad things. And in this case, it's the bad things for the most part. But I'm gonna trying to start include some good things in there because I think this is probably a better arc than the Revival of. Yeah, it's definitely better than the Revival of F, and it's definitely better than the Zamasu arc. So I'm gonna try and include like more good things that it kept from the anime. But for this chapter, well, we'll see. Anyway, so they kept Krillin being the first to be eliminated. I was contemplating putting this in the worst category for this chapter, considering that in the anime he actually beat people like Shosa and Majora. But on second thought, I decided against it. It was just like, it's not better or worse. Because those wins against Shosa and Majora weren't even noteworthy or important enough or written well enough for me to consider like, oh, like Krillin losing the way he did in the anime is much better than how he did in the manga because he beat people. Because using a shoe to beat what's his name, Majora, and like the sense of smell, if you're gonna tell me that Krillin beat someone in an arc after Dragon Ball Z where the survival of the universe was on the line, and he did it by not using or by covering Shosa's sense of smell, I'd say that's fucking bullshit writing. And then the other thing was using the Taioken times 100 against Majora. Sorry, Shosa, excuse me. And the reason it didn't work against Majora is because he was blind. But again, blindness and smell, yeah, that's all bullshit in a post-Z arc. That shouldn't fucking matter. And these are, you know what I mean? So anyway, so yeah, those wins weren't even written well enough for me to consider like putting it above or below. So it's just the same for me. And the reason this still sucks is because now that Krillin is eliminated like so easily in this tournament, right, in the manga, there was no need for Boo or Goten or Trunks to be excluded. And this is all that happens. If all that happens is Krillin is in a circle with the other universe, the 4 other Universe 17 members, right, and then Vegeta tries to punch him and then Frost eliminates him, why the fuck did you eliminate Boo? Why the fuck did you eliminate? Boo has done nothing. Boo is like the, well, I guess not counting Frieza. I mean, well, yeah, well, okay. Anyway, the point is, like, Boo has not been utilized well at all in Super, and definitely not the manga. At least in the anime. At least in the anime, he had that fight against Basil, right? And even then, that wasn't that good. But at least he had, like, Spotlight, and he was able to fight. But now, and Goten and Trunks aren't shit at all in Super anyway, either. So, it's just like, why the fuck would you bring Krillin only for him to be eliminated? Why not Boo or Goten or Trunks? Dr. Rhoda was also eliminated, and here we actually learned that he uses magic, but considering Babidi and Fortune Teller Baba, I wonder if that's a viable like combat mechanic. I wonder if magic can work against people, not even work, can just be used competently in a fight against people that can blow up planets. And I certainly don't like it being used as one in Dragon Ball, that's for sure. But the point is, Dr. Rhoda is eliminated, and I don't like that because his character design I actually thought was pretty okay. I mean, yeah, it looks too much like a board. It's not alien-esque enough, but the design in of itself I thought was a very Toriyama-esque design. And I don't know if Toriyama himself designed it or not, but the point is I like that design, Dr. Rhoda. It's a very homely, small, demorphed design of an animal, and I like it. Tien is eliminated too, and kind of like Krillin, I don't consider this worse than his elimination in the anime, because again, Tien, he actually I think actually eliminates a couple like no-name people in the anime, and then when he's eliminated, he takes like that sniper with him. But for the same reason as Krillin, I don't consider this worse than his elimination in the anime, because like with Krillin, his wins in the anime weren't any better. Eliminating a fucking sniper and reflector is better. Get the fuck out of here. And again, it's just for the same reason, like those powers, like who he eliminated and how he eliminated them. It ain't shit. It ain't shit. I don't care if you fucking eliminate a sniper and reflector. And I hate to go like on a general super rant, but it's just like, this is exactly the kind of thing that Dragon Ball, this is not the kind of route that Dragon Ball should go down, right? It's not Hunter x Hunter or One Piece or Fairy Tail or Naruto where you go fire and ice and shadows and like all like these different various abilities. No, these are fucking people who are like Supermen. They're like heralds in DC Comics. They had the power to like punch and blow up planets with nothing but their bare fists. Like fucking ice and shit doesn't fucking work against them. It's bullshit. So yeah, Tien is eliminated, Krillin's eliminated, Dr. Rhoda is eliminated. But I don't really consider that worse or better than how they are in the anime. Frieza manipulating Frost is something that they kept also, but this is still trash as fuck. One, because it's kind of expected. I kind of expected Frieza, even back in the anime, for him to like manipulate Frost. Like, oh, like he manipulated him. I was entertaining that idea, right? But the manner in which Toyotaro portrayed it here was really trash, with exaggerated and excessive panels of them like conversing. I remember like there's I don't have the chapter open in front of me right now, but there's like this panel of just like seeing like Frieza and Frost looking at each other, like smiling and like with open mouths and like talking. And it's just like, you don't need to like show a panel with no dialogue of them doing that to get across the idea that, oh, they're working together, right? So Toyotaro doing the way he did it here was kusoge. It was trash. It was exaggerated and excessive panels of them conversing, trying to hype up the image /feel /vibe /aura, whatever word you want to use, of them working together. the actual dialogue in of itself, like when Frieza says, "Oh, I forgot one thing," when he eliminates Frost. Having a panel of Frieza with no dialogue after he eliminates Frost, that kind of stuff just makes the portrayal and the expression of Frieza manipulating Frost trash as fuck, in my opinion. But what really infuriated me, though, what just really frustrated me, though, was when Krillin said, "We were pawns too." And this is just the kind I hate. Dude, proper word choice is important. Okay? What's the word? If you incorrectly guess a person's intentions, that doesn't make you a fucking pawn. That just means you were wrong. And Krillin saying the word pawns to describe to express himself, or just not only himself, because he said we, to express the gang, misguidedly, incorrectly guessing like Frieza that was working with Frost, and having that, getting that perception wrong and calling yourself a pawn, we were pawns too, is just fucking stupid. You just couldn't guess correctly what Frieza's intentions were. You weren't manipulated. You weren't or used by anyone to do like an actual fucking deed or anything. You just guessed incorrectly. You're not a fucking pawn for that. And again, it's probably a nitpick. I'm probably getting like a little too just like hyped up over this, but it's just like Super has had trash dialogue, and in any other series, any other thing that I watch, dialogue for the most part doesn't really stand out to me unless, I mean, there can be good dialogue and it's good dialogue when someone has like a cool comeback or something, but unless it's like really cringy, it doesn't really stand out to me. And here in Super, it stood out to me so many fucking times, and it's just infuriating to fucking deal with that. So, yeah. And now we'll talk about the things that this chapter did worse than the anime. What it did worse for the arc overall. So, again, here we have power scaling problems with Gohan struggling against Trio de Dangers. Because even if Gohan got weaker ever since Buu, how am I supposed to believe and buy that Trio de Dangers is at Ultimate Gohan level? I just can't do that if you don't showcase. This is the problem, like, in doing like a post-Z series, where it's just like, if you want to make Dragon Ball, by Toriyama's own admission in the 1990 interview with Akito, I forget his first name, his first name, the mangaka for Kochikame, right? He didn't, and you can find it on Kanzenshuu. It's called Akira Toriyama's The World, and it's an English translation. You can look it up, right? But by his own admission, he said that Dragon Ball is a comic of escalation. The opponents get progressively stronger. You have to understand how powerful these fucking characters are at the end of the Buu arc. These dudes can blow up planets in their fucking sleep. If you're going to make me believe that Ultimate Gohan is struggling with someone, then I need to see feats. I need to be able to buy that they can do this sort of thing. It's different with Jiren or Zamasu or Goku Black or whoever, because those are the main villains. Those are the main villains, right? Those are the fucking main villains. And granted, with Goku fighting Beerus, we see like the universe being, like the whole universe being affected by their shockwave. That was something that made me believe. Even before that, even with Beerus, it's not even having destructive feats like that. Even like when Beerus defeated Super Saiyan 3 Goku as easily as he did in the Battle of Gods movie, just with the chop to the neck, that didn't really destroy planets or anything like that. But just that chop alone, how effortlessly he did it, made me buy and genuinely believe in Beerus' strength. And here with Trio de Dangers, we don't have that. We have this no-name person that can just go ahead and challenge in the anime Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku and his ultimate Kamehameha or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a bullshit. Or no, sorry. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, wait, he did do that, right? Yeah. So, but here in the manga, they're just like, he's just fighting like fist to fist. There's no impact. There's no me feeling the combat like, oh, this dude is strong. There's no feats to help support it. So they're just like no-name motherfuckers. And how am I supposed to buy that? And it's the same thing with Piccolo versus the other three other Universe 9 people. So after you see Gohan fight Trio de Dangers, you have Piccolo fighting a Hissop and Hop and the Bat Guy, I think. And it's just the same thing. The Piccolo is stronger than Final Form Frieza on Namek, and this dude was able to destroy a planet. How can I believe that these guys can destroy entire planets and give Piccolo a fight? It's just not believable to me. I need to see the fucking feats, man. I need to believe it. You need to make me believe it. If you're just going to have them just fight, like, just straight up, like, boom, 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 like this, and there's supposed to be, like, 80 motherfuckers out there that can do this, it's just like, then what's the difference? How do I believe that? How do I buy that? Anyway, so that's my whole thing. And no, actually, we're going to talk about that more. But back to what I was saying about Tien's Kikoho at the start. Viz translated this as Chi Kung Pao? What the fuck is that? I've never seen that translation in any Viz translation for a Kikoho ever. In no Dragon Ball product. I've never seen Chi Kung Pao ever. I haven't. I saw a tweet, like, apparently, like, it was used, like, as a footnote in the original manga, and I don't remember that at all. But Chi Kung Pao? Dude, when I first thought I read this, I thought Toriyama or Toyotaro was doing, like, a food pun, because, you know, Toriyama loves food puns as names for characters. So I thought it was, like, Kung Pao chicken. What the fuck? Chi Kung Pao? That's way too wacky, even for Toriyama, or prime 90s Toriyama standards. And again, there's more power scaling problems here, as how does Frost not even be, how is he not even, like, scathed, I guess, I think that's how he's scathed, by this Chi Kung Pao attack, when Cell in his second form was? Look, there's no way Frost in his final form is stronger than Cell in his second form. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. If I watch the Super Anime and the Super Manga, I would not believe that Frost in his fourth, or technically in his third form, is stronger than. I think he actually calls it his final form in the manga, or in this chapter when he's talking with Frieza. So I'll just say final. There's no way Frost in his final form, after watching the manga, there's no way I could believe sensibly that this dude is stronger than Cell in his second form, if all this dude had to do was rely on poison to beat Super Saiyan Goku. And again, maybe Frost is stronger than Cell in his second form, right? Maybe he is, and maybe that was Toyotaro's and Toriyama's or whoever's intention. Okay, fine. But if that's the case, then like what I was saying with Gohan and Piccolo, you have to showcase that strength properly. You have to showcase that shit properly. Thoroughly convince me that this dude is stronger than Cell. And I'm not just talking about, like, have Frost just straight up, like, have Frost in his final form fight Cell in his second form and have him beat him. And just have him, like, fucking own him. I'm talking about, like, show, not even just training, show feats. Just hype him up as a character, dude. You know what I mean? Anyway. Goku wanting, and so, yeah, Frost eliminates Krillin and also eliminates Tien, and then he's gonna go and fight Roshi. And this moment I thought was terrible too, because Goku wanting to fight Frost, so Goku saves Roshi from Frost, and Goku tells Roshi, we'll fight Frost together, when he was just fighting the Pride Troopers, so I have no idea, like, why the fuck that's happening. But Goku wanting to fight Frost with Roshi just feels way too forced. And especially the dialogue after, with Roshi telling Goku to mind his own business because he's old? Fuck that! Roshi back in the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z was always telling Goku, I can't do anything, I need for you to take care of this. I mean, you're the only one that can do it. I'm just too old now. Like, he's always... This directly contradicts that. And, again, Super just fucking sucks cock because it contradicts fucking everything. So then Frieza runs away with Frost, and this was just whack as fuck, because this stage that they're fighting on is not even that big that a retreat seems viable. Listen, when Vegeta, like, ran away on Namek, that, like, felt like an actual, like, running away, like a retreat, because the planet was a big fucking stage, right? It's a fucking planet. This is just a stage. It's the equivalent of me going into, I don't know, some fucking, say, like, Capital One Stadium, or the Verizon Center where the Washington Wizards play, right? And I'm on one end of the fucking court, not even the fucking court, one end of the bleachers, and I'm fighting someone, and then the dude runs away and goes to, like, the other side of the stadium. That's not fucking running away. What the fuck is that? There's just, like, 5 minutes of distance between us. Running away means that you can't catch them, dude. So that was just whack. Then Piccolo is struggling with the bad guy. The bad guy has him, and I forget his name. He has him in some sort of a chokehold, and again, like making me believe that yeah, that's just like it's just unbelievable that something like that could happen to someone who's stronger than Namek Arc Frieza. Um, and overall, just the fighting in this chapter is just still trash as fuck. I mean, it just still goes to show that Toyotaro can't storyboard or he can't draw a fight well enough. I mean, I don't know what's happened with him ever since Zamasu started using trash-ass Kachin cubes or whatever, but yeah, the dude just can't draw fights well enough. I hope that changes. And so yeah, that's another bad thing. Another bad thing is Frost. I'm saying I'm stuttering a lot here. Frost says something to one of I think yeah, one of the Universe 9 people when they're about to fight Gohan and Piccolo. They're like it's all 10 of them are about to like fight Gohan and Piccolo, and then Frost tells Gohan and Piccolo to get out of his way, and then he says something that says "Now die," and he fires like a ki blast and eliminates one of them. I forget who. The reason I said like this was worse or a bad thing was, look, I know it's just a phrase that's probably not meant to be taken literally. It's just a phrase like him like just expressing strength and all that, and because it's probably not meant to be taken literally as such, maybe this isn't even something that is bad about the chapter. But again, him saying "now die" in a tournament that forbids killing is probably not the best choice of words, Toyotaro. Just saying. So and then the final bad thing that I want to talk about is Kaioshin. Towards the end, when Universe 9 is eliminated, he's shocked that the gods died too. And I don't know why he's shocked the gods died too, considering if I remember very clearly in the manga when Goku, like when he fought Toppo or when he lost to Toppo and whatnot, um, in the Invitational when he lost to him. I remember Kaioshin learning. He was there when he learned that the gods are going to be killed as well. So I don't know why Kaioshin was shocked in this chapter that he was like, "Oh my god, the gods died too." Like, why is he shocked about that? So yeah, that's the last bad thing. Now this isn't the last thing I want to talk about the chapter though. This is going to be the end of the video, but there's one more thing I want to talk about. And the reason I'm keeping this last is because this isn't something that the manga did better or something that it kept from the anime, but this may be a bad thing. And I want to talk about it because people were talking about it on Twitter. So this may be a bad thing, so this is why I'm keeping it last, because I'm not sure if it is a bad thing that the chapter did or if it isn't. But it's not something that the manga did better or kept from the anime. So I'm keeping it here because it may be a bad thing the chapter did. And that is Piccolo hesitating to eliminate Bergamo. So obviously Piccolo can be ruthless considering he was a villain, right? And he's generally, anyone that knows Dragon Ball, casual Dragon Ball knowledge is that he's generally a loner type. He's a very silent dude. And so he gives off that vibe as someone who is like who is willing to put aside his feelings to get something done, right? And obviously we see that with Cybermen and all this stuff. So when you consider that, him hesitating to eliminate Bergamo doesn't make sense, right? But at the same time, Piccolo is also a good guy now. He's changed since the Saiyan arc. He's a good guy now too, and he realizes that the other universe contestants, they're not villains either. They're just fighters. They're not villains either. However, so when I consider that, I'm not so sure if this is a bad thing considering he's a good guy and these people aren't villains. However, with that being said, I think there was a better reaction for him to do. I think the most appropriate reaction for Piccolo to have done, what he should have done, it would have been for him to apologize before eliminating Bergamo, right? Before eliminating him, yeah, he should have apologized and just done it. Which is why ultimately I think what I'm going to do is consider this a bad thing. But even though I still consider it a bad thing now, I still don't think it's as extremely bad as people say it is. But yeah, if Goku can threaten to kill the Kaioshin back in the Buu arc just to fight Majin Vegeta, then I expect Piccolo can do the same to other people, even if they aren't evil. for the sake of like his own friends, namely Gohan and Goku surviving, and Vegeta too for that matter, and maybe Gohan as well. I mean, Gohan certainly did it with Obuni in the anime. So yeah. Um, oh, and so yeah, that's the and I know I said like I'd end the episode review on this, but I also want to talk about like how they didn't excessively exaggerate Rose and Trio de Danger's personalities as being like terrible people. I think that's a good thing. I think I just don't feel like that terrible personality suits their character design. So I'm happy they're not like that in the manga. So that's a good thing. But yeah. So yeah, ultimately, I just thought this was a terrible chapter, but for the most part. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, that's my chapter 34 review. I'll see you guys when I see you. Probably the next and last Dragon Ball Super review, anime episode review. I mean, so obviously the movie has to come out. So, but yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.